today, seeing as you guys love letters so much, I'm going to do an alphabet. And I'm going to do as much of it in real time as I possibly can, so that I can document the process for you. So without further ado, let's chat. Let's get stuck in, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to do space management as we go as well, because I want to improvise this as much as possible. So you can see I'm working on a blank piece of paper. I've not made any markings. There's no grids. There's no guidelines. There's no... I haven't broken it down to sections to see how many letters I need to get on a line or anything like that. I'm just going to work with improvised space management, and that means basically I'm doing it on the hop. So if I did, like, just an example, if I did a massive A just there, then somehow I've got to fit, like, okay, well, how's that going to work? B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, I'm going to write a paper, right? What I'm going to do today is I'm not going to plan that, is what I'm saying. I should just get on with it, really, shouldn't I? Just drop it down a bit so you can see a bit better. There we go. So, how am I going to work this? Number one, I'm going to change my glasses so I can actually see what I'm doing. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go for a lower lower case. And what I'm going to do as well, any mistakes I make, I'm going to keep them in. I'm not going to try and edit, because I think it's useful for you to see that A, the overall process, and B, that you've got to make some mistakes. You can't be too worried about it. Now you'll see that I'm working very loose. Somebody was talking about this the other day, actually. I noticed they said somebody was saying, can you do something about how to hold a pencil and all that kind of stuff? I don't know if I can get into that, because you hold the pencil the way you hold it, really. You know, different methods suit different people, but I will say that I'm somebody, I like to work nice and light and nice and loose. Now that means a lot of lines. As you can see, that I use a lot of scraggly lines. I'm fine with that. Some purists say you shouldn't really work like that, but it suits me. Absolutely suits me down to a T. So, okay, there I've got my. Now I'm just instinctively, I'm thinking, let's go for a bigger B. I don't know why. It just is working that way. I mean, I will say, intuition plays a massive part for me whenever I'm doing something like this. I don't know how much of that is down to the fact that I've been doing this for quite a long time, you know, quite a lot of years. So, you know, my intuition will be quite finely honed. See, I'm changing this. Sorry, I should be talking about this, shouldn't I? I'm changing this A already. I had a nice sort of flat top on that before, and now I'm thinking it works better with the B, works better with the flow if I do a nice big diagonal line up there. Because what I'll do, I'll probably blend it. I'll kill some of these lines as well, so it somehow kind of merges with that B without destroying the structure of the A. I was watching one of Grimm's videos recently on Artist Block, and he talks a lot about this, and it's a really important point, which is whatever you do to make your letters and your word better, it mustn't compromise the actual structure of your letters. Otherwise, well, even on a basic word, we can't read it, and we certainly can't enjoy the aesthetics of it. Okay, now what I need to do, because this B juts out to here, I've got to make sure that the structure of the C is not obscured. So you see I'm putting the negative space in there. If I was to slip it over here, suddenly this is just obscuring this too much. That's a really important part of the C. It defines the C structure. So it has to sit further over to the right there. That also means I've made it slightly fatter than I would have wanted to make it. But that's all right. I'll kill a little bit of that line of the B, because I'll blend it with the C just there. You getting this? You're getting it. You're bright people, I know. Okay, now onto a letter that I don't like very much. So I might do something a bit radical with this one. What can I do with this one? What about if I bring him in from right there and do a massive one? Is that outrageous? Is that going to work? Oh, what about? Well, I'm liking this because it wouldn't be what I normally would do. Got to make it congruent with the other letters as well, right? As you can see so far, negative space is very tight, so it has to remain tight on the D. I mean, I'm not loving that. And it needs something to say, I've got a negative space thing going on down here, so that's easily solved, isn't it? How do I feel about that? I will tell you what. Better? Worse? Don't know. Not sure. Not sure about that one. As I say, not my favourite letter. I've been asked to do D's before. Someone asked me to do a load of D. In fact, really, what you're supposed to do. So, you see what I did there? Because I've made adjustments. So the negative space was down there. But you see, that then doesn't line up with that. That's not a continuous line through there, is it? You know, the negative space in the wrong place. So I have to move it. This is why talking about the process in real time is quite helpful. Hopefully for you guys. So I have to move the negative space up there. There you go. Now that's in line with that. So all my lines are aligned. And the structure of my letter has integrity. Regardless of whether we like it or not. There it is. See, if I could, I'd take this bar right over here and sort of do it to about there. But I don't really have the... You know, I'm going to do it anyway, even if it goes off the page, because that aesthetic is more attractive to me. There we go. I mean, what I could do is I could take that into there, kill a bit of that C. Is that working? I'm not sure. I can decide when I come to ink it anyway. So there we go. We've got A, B, C, D so far. Now we come to a letter that I really like. In fact, it's probably my, the biggest problem I have with E is I just can't decide which one I want to do because I love E so much. So let's go for thinking of something like, now don't forget, it's got to be congruent with the other letters. It's got to work with them. So I'm just going to point something out here. So I'm talking about congruency. Congruency is how something fits, basically, how it fits with something else. Look at the angle on the C there. Look at the angle on the E there. It mirrors it. This mirrors that, mirrors this. That, in fact, if I want to mirror this bit, I probably need to tighten that in a little bit, because then you get a very similar angle there as well. That's still not that steep, but it's enough. It's enough to sort of point up. Maybe I can do it more, actually. Can I do it into there? See, that is, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it because it's starting to eat into this C. Can you see this? That's not the end of the world. I can do... Okay, again, I'll decide later on that one. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll just do that one. There we go. There we go. As far as I'm concerned, that works fine. In fact, I might do a bit of extra just there. A bit of extension work there. Okay, and what I want is these letters to get very busy with each other. So can you see that I'm making sure that the letters are touching? That is very important. It means I can lose a bit of that B as well, because that is blending into that E there. It's quite a big old E, that. In fact, that E is a whopper. So what I'm going to do next, I've talked a lot about this recently, about sizing letters and the effectiveness of changing the size of letters. There we go. There's a smaller F. There's a smaller F, and I'm going to probably go for a larger G. Again, I'm sort of, you know, that does not align. See that? That's the alignment. That's where the line sits. It's not terrible. It's not awful. And honestly, technique will cover up a lot of that sort of stuff. But if I'm being a bit of a purist about it, and I should be, because that's the whole point of doing this video, really, I should line that up. There you go. There, that's aligned. Now, there we go. That's probably a bit long for what I need. That's probably better. Okay. Let's get on this G. Oh, yeah. What about if I do a really big G? Do you know what? I'm going to run out of space, aren't I? I'm going to run out of space down here. Because if you think about it, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. I'm going to run out of space. Space management. Be sensible. What should I do for this G? Oh, go on, I'll give you one of them. There we go. Because now I'm kind of thinking I'm going to have to do something a bit smart to make sure I don't run out of space. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm not massively over bothered about extensions and stuff at this point. I'll stick a little serif on the end there. So serifs and extensions and stuff like that, I'm not that bothered right now. Because when I say extension, I'm not really talking about extensions, I'm talking about serifs and detailing. The reason I'm not bothered is because a lot of that can be added later. It's not a big deal. What I really want to get down is structure, shape, stuff like that. This sort of thing. So like I'm looking at this bit of negative space there, thinking, do I want to get rid of that? I could get rid of that. I could get rid of that very easily. I'll show you how. I could just make the G a bit wider. So starting down there, instead of that coming up there, it comes up there. And then the G's wider. And it wipes out that negative space. See that? Easy peasy, right? And then if I want to kill it even more, just do a tiny little serif there. And then it wipes out all that negative space. By the way, for those of you who watch my stuff a lot, you probably noticed that I'm not a big fan of the negative space. I don't work with it very much. I try and get rid of it because I just prefer the aesthetic. That's all. You know, if you're someone who loves negative space, then good on you. You know, work with it. But I like to get rid of it. I've always liked much sort of tighter letters. Oh yeah. Take that F into that B like that. That's something, isn't it? I mean, some might say I overdo the blending letters together thing, but again, I like the aesthetic of that. I love blending letters together. Make sure you can see that. Actually, no, if I do that, that turns it into an A. Let's not do that. Okay. Personally, lowercase I for me any day of the week, just because I find them more interesting. So how can I? So I'm looking at this kind of how can I sort of interestingly put an I in there? Okay, there's my H, so it's sitting there, sort of slanted forwards, got interesting sort of movement dynamic there, lots of energy sort of going up that way. What I could do is I could sort of accentuate a different sort of angle on this. We're talking about, what do they call it? Momentum flow, I think it's called. Something like, now the top of an eye like this, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. You could turn it into a character if you like. I've done a skull and crossbones before, all kinds of stuff. Kill a bit of that D, excellent. But for now, I'm just going to put a big old ellipse there. This is good because it means also take a bit of that H out. This is one I struggle with, The J. I'm not a big fan of the J. I'm trying to think how I'd normally do the J, and I don't want to do it like that, so I want to do it like this instead. Ooh, does that work? See, really, for that to work, I need more space out there because that needs to flare out much more. See what I mean? It needs to come round and down, and I've run out of space. I can't take it off the side like that because that really is not great. Okay, let's try and rethink this. Is there a way of doing it? Can it be done? I'm not sure if that. No, that is just not, for me. That is not enough. I'm gonna have to bin that. That's quite a nice J actually, that I just thought of there, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay. See, it needs a good dynamic as well. Maybe if I start this stick first. But I told you that I didn't like J. Aish. This is quite similar to J's that I've done before, but frankly, I'm kind of thinking it will do. Now, this is an example of something, isn't it? Because a dot on a J and a dot on, lowercase J, lowercase. See, if I did two ellipses like that, I've never done that before actually on the I and the J. Kill a bit of that one. I mean, it looks kind of weird, but I mean, you've got to try something, haven't you, every so often. I mean, honestly, I'm not crazy about that. I really need to move my paper, but I can't because I don't want to spoil it for... Actually, it's normally in time-lapse that you spoil it if you move the paper. I think you could probably live with it if I move the paper on this one. Okay, it's not the best J in the world, but I'm not going to get hung up on that. Okay. Generally love a K. go with this one. I'm just going to do a sort of K that I really, really like to do. Chunky little K like that. Love that kind of a K. In fact, even more truncated like that. Yeah. Okay. Can be a bit lazy around an L, if I'm really honest with you. I do an L like this a lot of the time. Again, it's not the most exciting kind of L in the world, but it suits my purpose because also it doesn't eat up much space. This is an M that kills negative space. Very low bars down here. And very high up here. Lots of negative space in there though to get to. So let's start our N up here. Oh, I might do a nice and so I know that O is coming up, right? And I know what I want to do for an O. So I'm going to do a really thin N. I don't know if this will work or not. Big fat O, really fat one. In fact, no, that's a silly idea. I was going to do it like right out there. I could do actually, I could. Let's just see. I mean, that's what graphite is for, right? That's why we use a pencil. I mean, that's mad. I'll probably have to do something to join that N to that O, fuse it with it, you know, like that. Yeah, go on, I'll buy that, why not? Now, contrast that with a little P. QRSTUVWXYZ. I'm just gonna get in under the wire here, I reckon. If all works out. Q's a nice letter. I never use it in anything. But you can really do something with a Q. Ooh, that's a bit mad. Don't know about that. That is ridiculous. The negative space on that R, there's virtually nothing in there. Really kind of stocky R. Is that too much? Nah. Everybody loves an S, right? Everybody loves an S. See, I want to do the T I always do on my name, but I should probably do something different. BWXYZ. I'm just going to come in under the wire there. I mean, it's getting a bit crunchy towards the bottom, but that's fine, actually. That's okay. If I can make a feature of that, then that is, that's fine. Oh, that'd be a bit naughty, wouldn't it, if I did a V on the end there? I mean, again, not my favourite letters. Yeah. Okay, V. WXYZ. So that gives me a lot more space. So that's good, because what I don't want to do is just sort of what I don't want to do is what I've sort of done, which is make it very, very square. And it's much more interesting if I can vary the shape a bit, vary the form and the flow. So if I do W, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'll do a little W there. Okay, that's a nice kind of size. And then I'll do like a really big fat X, if I can. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm jamming fast now because I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do when I sketch a lot, so I'm going a bit, I suddenly realize I'm going a bit quiet. What I'm doing is I'm trying to outrun my own brain, which is a piece of advice that I give to beginners quite a lot. Work fast enough to outrun your own brain, because your brain will have all kinds of stupid ideas about what's good and what's not, you know. Oh, don't do that, that's rubbish. Oh, don't. It will talk and talk and talk. And most of it will be of no use to you whatsoever. And it can be a very frustrating process, listening to the mind, trying to work out, you know, what it thinks is good. And you can almost guarantee that most of what you've done it won't think is any good. And that's a miserable process, as you constantly critique your own work. No. Okay. That Z has gone slightly left field there, and he's going a direction I don't like. See what I want? I want it to be a bit more like the S, not quite like the S, but a bit more. So a bit more like that. I'll start with the negatives. Can you see what I'm doing on that? I'm starting with the negative space first, because that's the sort of shape I want, and everything else can fit in kind of round it. There you go. That's more like it. That's more like what I'm after. Okay, good. So I've got my basic structure down there. Hang on, the dog wants to go out. So much of my life dictated by being a butler for the dog. Right, got my basic structure there. Got my ABCs. Those of you who know my work from before, I sometimes like to play a bit of a trick on people with the alphabet. I've not done it on this one, but I like to leave a letter out or move a letter somewhere else, just because it tends to wind people up in the nicest possible way, you know. So I've not done it on this one anyway. It's just a standard alphabet. There you go. Everything's in the place where it should be. So what I need to look at now, I've got my basic structure in place. Is I was back in now. Come on. Right. Basic structure in place. So I need to look at serifs and stuff now. Do I want to put any serifs on? Do I not? Do I want to change anything up? First of all, I'm looking at this E. I'm thinking that could be a bit bigger. That could eat up a bit of space there, couldn't it? There you go. What else? I'm going to try and truncate this process. How long have I been at it? Half an hour. So it's half an hour to do this sketch so far. What I'll do, I'll ink in time lapse, so you won't have to sit through. I just wanted you to see this process, the process of trying to put letters together in an improvised fashion, you know, because you know and I wanted to do it in real time, so you can see me making mistakes and see me having to scrub stuff out as well. And doing this bit, which is the next bit, which is, you know, this bit, like this K, this needs a serif on it, needs something, otherwise it's too plain. P has a serif on the end there, which blends with that O. Is that going to be enough? It's a tiny bit curvy. I need to make it a bit more angular. I think that's fine, actually. I think that's all right. That T, I want to kill a little bit of space there. That T. Where's my... There we go. I need a more precise eraser. Oh dear. Eesh. What on earth is on the end of that? Should have checked, shouldn't I? Dirty. Good job I'm not a perfectionist, right? Because that is filthy. It's put a big filthy patch on my... Oh well, never mind. Never mind. Okay. What do I want to do with that? So you see what's happening here. The O comes down, it overlaps. Now, how much do I overlap? If I overlap that S, I lose a lot of that very nice structure. So what if I bring the O in like that, but I kill that line just there? Let's kill that line, which means that now, and I killed that line, means I can keep the structure of the S, which is nice, and I can still, what I do is I can overlap the T. So it kills that top corner of the T, but I don't mind that, that's fine. Yeah, I might do a little sort of extension on there, on the bottom of the O. Just because, details, all that. Okay, we've got the H and the I up there. I can give one of these letters a bit more. See, there's a load of negative space there that is not doing anything to enhance anything. So something needs to change there. So let's go for a change in the I. Ooh, that's a big no-no. There you go, that's better. Alright, good, because that J sits a bit nicer there. That J's not really connected to that I, but that's fine, I can live with that. what else? What else? I mean, really, at this stage, this is just about you kind of having a bit of fun, adding bits of detail. What detail do you want to add? I want to increase the size of that serif there. To that size. Do I want anything else? I probably should kill a bit of that Q to blend it with that R. There we go. So you see what I'm doing is I'm just sort of melding the letters together now. See, I'm thinking that L could go in with that Q as well. If that goes like that, that can meld nicely with that. Yeah, okay, I'm feeling that. Does that S? Yeah, that S needs a bit of love from that R. So that negative space is a bit tight to that R, so I'm just going to move it a bit there. There we go. Yeah, yeah, okay. That X, does that kill too much of that S? Let's have a look. No, I think that's all right. I think that's okay. This line is very samey. So I'm thinking actually maybe it would be good to push this T a bit. There's a Y in there, so I have to be wary of that. In fact, even looking at that now, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Does that work? I reckon I'll get away with that. There we go. Kill a little bit of the X to make the Y and the X fit together. And W there. This Z or Z there you go. This really needs something. No, this needs a serif just there. I want to keep as much of the structure of that S, Z, Z visible as I can. Can you see that down there? Suddenly realised I might be off camera. Oh, that needs to be, there you go. So I'd flatten the end of that bar there, but actually it needs to be like that because it needs to be more pointed, more angular, because again, it's congruent with these sorts of angles you're seeing here. I'm doing a lot of pointy angles. So whenever I can, it's fine to do a nice big blunt end on that, you know, that kind of stuff, as long as there's some sort of congruency with my other letters. They must stay congruent, otherwise they start to just belong to a different letter set, and you don't want that. Okay, Okay. It's about this stage of this process that I start to become very itchy to get it inked, because I like laying down ink. Okay, we're nearly done. Nearly done. Anything else? Anything else? I'm happy with all that. Yes, 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 that's all fine. Yeah, yeah. Does that you need something there? I'm losing a bit of that U. That's going to go in there. Get rid of that. Get rid of, so that is gone because that overlaps. That said, overlaps the U there, and then that comes round, and really that's got to go there because I'm going to end it with the V. Okay, there we go. And that, I think, is going to do me. All right. Overall, I'm happy with how that's come out. I'm just going to make sure this is on camera so you can see it. You can pretty much see the lot there, can't you? So as you can see, I've done a lot of negative space management. I've done space management generally to make sure everything fits. I've done it on the hop, some letters much bigger than others. The O, the D, the E, Z slightly oversized, slightly bigger, X, that kind of stuff. Because aesthetically, I want to vary it up. You see a lot of alphabets, they're very uniform, you know, fine, you know, cool, works fine. But I can't do that. I just find it too boring. So I've added bits of serifs wherever I fancied them. You don't want to overdo it, because if you overdo it, it just looks a bit naff. You know, well, it just looks overcooked. That's the thing. Yeah. All right. Let's ink. Right, there we go, guys. There's an alphabet, start to finish, for you. Or what is it? It's 2024. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed that. I've been wanting to do an alphabet for a while, not getting around to it. Had a bit of a problem in that one of my Pigma graphics decided to split at the end. Now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. What it means is it produces incredibly fat lines. So I ended up doing the big sort of outside fat line with that pen. But it did cause me a few problems early on, because I just thought the lines are too fat for the scale I'm working at initially. But it all worked out fine, because I used an old one and went over it. if that's clear. Anyway, there you go. There you go. The finished article. Hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, bung them in the comments. If you think I missed a bit, then chuck that in as well. Always bound to get some hate for an alphabet. People always get a bit cross when I do letters for some reason. Not quite sure why, but hey, you know, chuck the drama my way. I'm old and ugly enough to be able to handle it. And yeah, got any requests for videos? Then put them in the comments too, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, guys, that's it. Wrapping it up for this one. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that.